Circuit.
His Honor, Benjamin, Acting Senior Magistrate for St. Kitts and Nevis, Mr. Vincent Hodge, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, other specially invited guests, members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association, judges, our auditors, Ms. Isilma Pemberton Fifield and Ms. Cleo Henry of Lands Monish and Associates, teachers, parents, the debating team, members and supporters, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the final round of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association's Advocates of Tomorrow National High School Debating Competition. This competition is held as one of our premier events for Law Week 2019. The elimination rounds were held right here at the Bird Rock Beach Hotel on Monday. And the winners from debates 1 and 2 on Monday, Charles E. Mills Secondary School and the Washington Archibald High School, have made it to the final round. Let's give them a round of applause. My name is Sherry Ann Liber Charles. I am the Vice President of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association, and I will be moderating today's proceedings. I think it's fair to say that based on the high caliber of advocacy and presentation skills we saw on Monday, we are all very excited about the final round of competition today. The students would have had an excellent opportunity on Monday to view their competition. So I can well imagine how hard the students would have been preparing, and I'm sure they will all do very well. We will now go straight into the final debate. The moot for this evening: life in the Caribbean was better before the advent of social media. Every competition we know would have rules, and I will read the rules of the competition. There will be 2 speakers from each team. The leader of the proposition, which is the team arguing in favor of the moot, will go first, and he or she will speak for a maximum of 10 minutes. The leader of the opposition, which is the team arguing against the moot, will go second, and he or she will speak for a maximum of 10 minutes. The seconder of the proposition will go next and will then speak for a maximum of 7 minutes. The seconder of the opposition will then speak also for a maximum of 7 minutes. My trustworthy timekeepers at the front, Mr. Malachi Ferguson and Glenisha Hobson. Mr. Ferguson will give a warning sign by raising his hand at 1 minute before the expiration of the speaker's allotted time, and again at the end of the allotted time. Each debater will be given a 10-second window to wrap up his or her presentation. After this period, I will have to ask the debater to vacate the podium. After the main presentations, the debaters will then get a short break of 10 minutes to prepare their rebuttal. The leader of the opposition will make their rebuttal presentation first, followed by the leader of the proposition. Each team will deliver their rebuttal in a maximum of 5 minutes. Following the rebuttals, the judges will be escorted to a secure venue for their deliberations. Deliberations should last no longer than 15 minutes. Upon the return to the venue, the chief best speaker judge and the chief presentation judge will each give a brief, constructive critique of the debater's performance, after which the results will be revealed. In the event that there is a tie, the score sheets of the 2 judges with the highest scores will be used to determine the winner. The debaters, I am now going to have the students come on stage and take their seats as their names are announced. For the proposition, we have the Washington Archibald High School. The leader is Miss Shadesha Green. The seconder for the Washington Archibald High School is Mr. Tremaine Bell. For the opposition, we have the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. The debaters are Miss Dariella Warner, the leader, and Miss Khadija Egan, seconder. Public prosecutions in the British Overseas Territory of the Cayman Islands. In 2013, he was elevated to the status of Queen's Counsel on account of his distinguished track record as an advocate and his extensive knowledge of the law. He is also a former associate tutor in the law of evidence at the Hugh Wooding Law School, Trinidad, and a former secondary school teacher. Please help me welcome Justice the Honorable Trevor Ward QC. His Honor, Mr. Rennell Benjamin. Mr. Rennell Benjamin was a former inspector of police in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. He graduated from the University of the West Indies at the Norman Manley Law School with a law degree and a Council of Legal Education certificate. Upon graduation from university, he became legal advisor to the commissioner for 2 years. He was a court prosecutor and a Crown Counsel. He then prosecuted in the High Court between 2006 and 2010. He opened his own law firm, which is still operational as the Rennell Benjamin Law Firm. He was elevated to magistrate from 2012 to present and has been promoted to senior magistrate 1 year ago. He is generally loved and respected by all, giving guidance and admonition to several persons on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you His Honor, Mr. Rennell Benjamin. Our third judge is Mr. Delara McClure Taylor, attorney at law. Mr. Taylor holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Economics and Political Science He holds an MBA from Boston University, 1987, and a law degree from the University of the West. Mr. Taylor worked for a number of years in the field of economics, finance, and law. He is a former registrar of company, and Mr. Taylor is now attached to the Office of the Attorney General. Please help me welcome Mr. Delara McClure Taylor. The judges will be scoring the students based on the following criteria: soundness of points, logical development, audibility and clarity, posture and personality, command of language, coordination, recall and analysis, spontaneity, command of material, and body language. We are also privileged to have our two best speaker judges. The best speaker judges will specifically be looking at the individual performance of each debater on the teams. A prize for best speaker will be presented to the student that received the highest score from these two judges. Our first best speaker judge is Mrs. Tashna Powell-Williams. Mrs. Powell-Williams hails from the island of Jamaica, the land of wood and water. She is an established attorney at law with 17 years experience within the jurisdiction of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. Mrs. Powell-Williams holds a Bachelor of Law degree from the University of West Indies and a legal education certificate from the Norman Manley Law School. She also holds a postgraduate certificate in business administration from the Keller Graduate School of Management. Having been called to the bars of Jamaica and St. Kitts and Nevis, she has appeared at all levels of the court. As a senior Crown Counsel in the Attorney General's chambers, Mrs. Tashna Powell-Williams has advocated on behalf of the state in diverse matters. She has sat on the Bar Council of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association since 2018 and is also a member of the Disciplinary Committee. Please help me welcome Ms. Tashna Powell-Williams. Our second best speaker judge is Ms. Tamara Malcolm. She also hails from the beautiful island of Jamaica. She is a graduate of the University of the West Indies and the University of Wolverhampton in the UK, where she holds a Bachelor of Psychology with honors and a Bachelor of Law degree with honors. She is called to the bars in the jurisdiction of Jamaica and St. Kitts and Nevis since 2009. She has taught in several areas of the law for the UWI Open Campus and the Excelsior Community College for over 8 years. Ms. Tamara Malcolm is currently employed to Mitchum and Benjamin Chambers as an associate attorney at law. Help me welcome Ms. Malcolm. The two best speaker judges will grade each debater on the following criteria: audibility and clarity, articulation, voice modulation, command of material, persuasiveness, fluency, eye contact, and body language. We would like to, at this point, to thank our auditors, Ms. Isilma Pemberton Fifield and Ms. Cleo Henry of Lands Monish and Associates. They will be tallying up the scores from all the judges and confirming the winners. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to start the debate. I am now going to call on the proposition to start, and I'm going to call on the leader of the proposition, Ms. Shadacia Green. Let us welcome her to the podium.
Madam Moderator, esteemed judges, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My co-debater and I will establish the moot. Life in the Caribbean was better before the advent of social media. To commence, I will simplify the pertinent key phrases. The expression, life in the Caribbean, connotes the cultural practices and day-to-day living associated with this geographic location. The Oxford Dictionary defines the word better as more excellent, more satisfactory. And the term advent of social media refers to the arrival of network and applications such as Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, and WhatsApp that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. Ladies and gentlemen, social media for its patrons is seen as gold. But we all know that all that glitters is not gold. Astute judges, my colleague and I unreservedly believe that the advent of social media has promoted indecency and immorality in the Caribbean. Just look at the many innocent people here in St. Kitts and Nevis who have been indecently exposed on WhatsApp. These victims range from school children to adults. When a group of callous girls from one of our prominent high schools can proudly expose the private parts of a young schoolboy, record it on WhatsApp, share the video to make it viral, then post a second video on Facebook to vindicate their actions, I am convinced that social media has brought shame and moral decay to the Caribbean region. In addition, when a video of a female sixth form student from a renowned school on our sister island being brutally assaulted by two other male students with a long piece of iron is shared like hot bread among students, we must stop and wonder, where has morality gone? Furthermore, social media has led to private, personal pictures becoming public to the embarrassment of many. Not even our students are immune to negatively using social media. In a 2016 article in the Jamaican Observer, a 30-year-old man created a website with pornographic images and videos. His victims had to pay him to remove their content and regain their privacy. Ladies and gentlemen, all these examples show that social media has heightened immorality and promoted sexual indecency in the Caribbean. Moreover, social media platforms have become a place to sensationalize death with the images of corpses. Clearly, there seems to be no limit as to the use of social media in the Caribbean. These have destroyed the very moral fiber which our foreparents have instilled in us. Therefore, the Caribbean was indeed better before the advent of social media. Secondly, traditional bullying grew into a monster called cyberbullying with the arrival of social media in the Caribbean. www.back.us 2017 noted that before the 1990s, cyberbullying did not exist. A 2016 article in the Jamaican Observer entitled "A Punch at Cyberbullying" asked, if a bad online review has the potential to cripple a business or even cause high-ranking officials to resign from their office, which they may have had for many years, then what about a teen that has just a little over a decade of existence? Madam Moderator, the article suggested that there is no debate about the chilling negative effects of cyberbullying. In our Caribbean, driven by social media, the impacts of cyberbullying are clear. Depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, low self-esteem, and other psychosocial issues. For instance, last year in Jamaica, a teenage girl committed suicide because she was bullied online. According to the Jamaican Gleaner, September 2017, the girl swallowed 57 pills because she was bullied online. Clearly, the old adage of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never harm me, does not ring true in this instance. Therefore, I submit to you that social media has and continue to harm our friendly Caribbean culture. Indeed, life was better before the introduction and prevalence of social media in the Caribbean. Madam Moderator, a better life in the Caribbean before the arrival of social media was one of stronger community and family ties. Back then, people spent time talking and joking face to face and sharing stories before falling asleep. It was possible to see the genuine feelings through facial expressions of anyone in a discussion. However, with social media, everyone communicates from a distance with Facebook posts, tweets, WhatsApp emojis, selfies, and the like. With social media, we rarely sit together over a meal at the dinner table. Instead, we prefer to see how many likes we get on Facebook or talk for long hours on free WhatsApp calls. According to the Trinidadian Guardian newspaper, dated January 24, 2017, social media makes us superficial in our social interactions because subtle signs of annoyance or happiness in our and other emotions are lacking. So I ask, is this a better Caribbean life? Moreover, where is parental accountability? Madam Moderator, our young people are misled because of poorer parenting. Our children's upbringing has shifted to social media as parents have lost control in instructing them in the way they should go. Our Caribbean people are uncontrollably addicted to social media. The same news article states that the average adult checks his or her phone at least 85 times per day, and this interferes with our daily lives. Madam Moderator, imagine the mayhem if there were to be no access to social media for 1 week in the Caribbean. Just 1 week. Young people can hardly be happy without social media for 1 hour, let alone 1 week. It is almost as if social media has become the very air that we breathe. Clearly, this is not the way to live. Finally, esteemed judges, social media is a huge distraction and thief of time for Caribbean people. It has become a fixture in the lives of many Caribbean people, as having a social media presence is almost synonymous with being a modern human being in 2019. The online article entitled "The Rise of Social Media" from the website ourworldindata.org 2019 stated that over 90% of young people in the OECD countries use social media. However, as developing countries, we must capitalize on our human resource in the Caribbean. We simply cannot prepare to compete in a global economy if people are distracted by the ills of social media. The fact is, social media has eroded our lives, especially for our females. The Time magazine article dated August 14, 2019, entitled "Social Media Hurts Girls More Than Boys," explained that girls who overuse social media often suffer memory loss, reduced attention span, and a lack of sleep. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, if we want to advance from developing to developed countries, Caribbean people must manage the natural resource of time better. We must not allow social media to consume our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, life in the Caribbean was simpler and better before the advent of social media. As Caribbean people, we must reclaim our time to develop skills that will equip us to make positive contributions to the Caribbean region and not waste our time in a virtual world that destroys rather than builds us up. Like the old adage says, time wasted can never be regained. Thank you.
Ms. Green, the leader of the proposition, spoke for a time of 10 minutes and 51 seconds. We will now invite the leader of the opposition, Ms. Darielle Warner, to the podium. Please give her a round of applause.
Andrew Mayer, director of AMSON Technology, tweeted, and I quote, "Whether you're an average user, you're for it or against it, there is no denying the many ways that social media and networking have impacted our daily lives for the better," end quote. Moderator, adjudicators, opponents, esteemed judges, a pleasant evening. It is against my duty as leader to introduce our rigid stance in opposition of the moot. Life in the Caribbean was better before the advent of social media. It is also my jurisdiction to dismiss the definitions put forward by the proposition and accurately define the salient terms in the moot. According to the Oxford Students' Dictionary, life is defined as human activities, especially the exciting or enjoyable aspects of human existence, and advent as the arrival of an important idea or development, while social media, as defined by Investopedia.com, refers to computer-based technology that facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through the building of virtual networks and community via computer, tablet, or smartphone. In my discourse, I will compare and contrast the efficiency in social media connections before and after the emergence of social media, illustrate how social media has made education more accessible, outline how social media has improved our economy and the world of work. With the advent of social media, we are able to communicate with persons anywhere at any given time, something that was not even remotely possible in the past, as people had to rely on snail mail and landline telephone connections. This meant that persons had to wait weeks, even months for a response. Now, with social media, replies are almost instantaneous. Moreover, social media has allowed people to create and maintain social interactions with large groups of people. Moderator, where in the 1980s did anyone have over 800 friends? This is only now possible through social platforms such as Facebook and Instagram, where their suggestion and explore pages allow users to find and connect to people with similar interests. A Jamaican study done by Jason and Rogers in 2012 found that a staggering 94.3% of Jamaicans use the internet for Facebook to make new friends and to stay up to date with friends and family. Moderator, another area of human endeavor vital to our region's development is that of education. and it is quite evident that the Caribbean has made significant improvement in its education system. As I move to outline my next point, permit me to use the words of Kofi Annan, and I quote, "Education is the premise of progress in every society, in every family," end quote. In today's world, the impact of social media on sustainable education is becoming an essential and compelling factor, as evidenced by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 4, obtaining a quality education, the foundation of improving people's lives and sustainable development. Social media has proven to be an effective learning tool in helping to achieve this goal. A 2013 survey by Pearson's Learning Solution reported a significant increase in the use of social media in learning. Over half of the educators who were interviewed agreed that social sharing encourages interaction and provides an environment that fosters learning. Furthermore, social media has contributed to an increase in online learning, where there is no need to be in a physical classroom or university. Already, this has leveled the playing field in the Caribbean. Persons from St. Kitts and St. Vincent are currently pursuing graduate studies at UWI using mainly social media platforms in the comfort of their homes, at a reduced cost of $4,500 for a master's degree. Follow your hearts to St. Kitts. No doubt, moderator, many of us in this very room have become quite familiar with that slogan. It is plastered across many social media sites, which brings me to my next point, that social media has greatly improved our economy. Pictures of our beaches, historical sites, flora and fauna, coupled with millions of reviews on social media sites, have made it easier for visitors to share their experience, to create strong destination images to entice tourists. Resultantly, the tourism product in the Caribbean, and particularly St. Kitts and Nevis, has increased exponentially, thereby drastically boosting our economy. Moderator, Dominica's Minister of Education and Culture, Robert Tong, in an interview with Kiari FM, has highlighted the important role of social media in attracting people's interest in Dominica's specific tourism product. Indeed, the Caribbean as a premier tourist destination is known worldwide. Additionally, moderator, social media networks enable businesses across the Caribbean and the world to amplify their message in a way never thought possible only a decade or two ago. When mass media ruled, a company had to pony up thousands of dollars to advertise on large scales. Now, social media has also created a more level playing field for small business, such as Shadan Productions, to achieve global reach within days of launching. Can we deny the role of social media in boosting our economy? Conclusively, moderator, social media has had a profound effect on the world of work, which includes recruiting and hiring. According to Career Builder's 2016 Social Media Recruit Service, 60% of employers use social networking sites to research job candidates. Professional social networks such as LinkedIn are important social media platforms for anyone looking to stand out in their profession, as they permit people to post their skills, accomplishments, and experience by making it easier for customers to access their business details at the touch of a button. Prior to social media, persons had to rely on word of the mouth or telephone directory to find a professional. As I am from the social media generation, I decided to use the Flow 2018 directory to find a lawyer. Moderator, I searched white pages, yellow pages for lawyer Taliba Byron. The only Byron found was Byron and Byron barristers at Law and City 4th and Central Street, Bastia, 465-2055. This is not
of how social media has corrupted our Caribbean people. Esteemed judges, I am sure you recall that when you were growing up, your pants was always on your waist. In addition, many of our boys learn about gang violence from what they see happening on the west and east coast of America, where the Bloods and Crips have an estimated membership of over 30,000 youngsters. Now, our teenagers are imitating this lifestyle in order to fit in. Furthermore, West Indians often have identity issues as a result of social media. This is evident since skin bleaching is becoming common in the Caribbean. Just look at Jamaican Vybz Kartel and Trinidadian Nicki Minaj, who are several shades lighter than when they first appeared on social media. They're international celebrities, but they still feel the need to change their skin color. Can we then wonder why so many of our West Indians don't want to look as white as Lady Gaga? Or why so many of our school children now fall prey to peer pressure? According to 2018 Newsday article dated August 20th entitled "Social Media Makes Me Feel Ugly," 23-year-old Joseph said, and I quote, "Social media has diminished my self-esteem and has made me rely too heavily on others for validation. I am fine with who I see in the mirror, but social media makes me feel ugly," end of quote. Madam Moderator, we are now wondering why so many of our school children have such a poor command of the English language. Thanks to social media, students now use abbreviations such as LOL and IDK in essays and short stories. The word your is now spelled UR and boldly submitted to teachers on coursework. According to the 2017 annual CXC report for English A, the performance of Caribbean students declined from 56% in 2016 to 48% in 2017. Moreover, Madam Moderator, our children have become exposed to a vast amount of unfiltered information. Many of our modern Caribbean school children only have curse words in their vocabulary. Celebrities like Cardi B, 50 Cent, and local rapper SMI, who they constantly listen to on social media, have become their role models. We can hear them using words which I dare not repeat, along the corridors and even in their classrooms. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, because of social media, people are easily influenced by trends such as buying the latest gadget and wearing the latest clothes. For many of us West Indian people, everything we see, we want. We may not know how our neighbors are getting it, but we want to have it too. This kind of attitude leads to envy and destroys the very fiber of our society. Furthermore, it leads to theft since some people want what they cannot afford. For example, since Facebook has connected people all over the world, people who live in the Caribbean want to just like people in America. Some Caribbean children from average income families are seen in the latest clothes, but they still do not have the science or history textbook for class. This poses both a social as well as a financial pressure on Caribbean people who are busy keeping up with the Kardashians. According to iNews Guyana, a University of Copenhagen study suggests that excessive use of social media feelings of envy and depression. Clearly, Madam Moderator, life in the Caribbean was better before the advent of social media because West Indians were less distracted by other cultures and contented in our way of life. Esteemed judges, another reason why life here was better before the advent of social media is because Caribbean people were physically active and healthier. Social media has distracted us from from outdoor activities. Riding bicycles, going on hikes, and engaging in track and field activities have almost become things of the distant past. This leads to a sedentary and unhealthy lifestyle. Hence, we become prone to developing health complications, which all leads to a shorter lifespan. Clearly, this is one of the reasons why obesity is so prevalent in the Caribbean region. Madam Moderator, why is it that so many people are constantly using social media is beyond my wildest comprehension. It appears that a single like on WhatsApp or a single follow is enough to deprive us of our long and happy life. Madam Moderator, some Caribbean people are easily swayed into thinking that we are living a good lifestyle if we eat macaroni pie and other imported processed foods as opposed to locally grown organic foods. Ladies and gentlemen, if we do not eat right, how can we be productive at school or work? How will nations progress if we constantly sick with diabetes, cancer, and hypertension because of our poor lifestyles? Madam Moderator, a healthy nation is still a happy and wealthy nation. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the advent of social media to the Caribbean has invaded and consumed our lives, stripped us of who we really are, and left us with the feeling that we should strive to be who we are not. How then could life in the Caribbean be better since the advent of social media? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Bell, who spoke in a time of 7 minutes and 35 seconds. Give him a round of applause, please. While the judges are noting their scores, the scoring will be based on soundness of points, logical development, audibility and clarity, posture and personality, command of language, coordination, recall and analysis, command of material, body language, and spontaneity. I'm hoping that the audience is also making notes for our discussion that we're going to have after. We have one final speaker, which is the seconder of the opposition, Miss Khadija Egan. Please welcome her to the podium.
Moderator, prominent judges, timekeeper, worthy opponents, astute audience, including those tuned in via social media, a pleasant evening. In continuation of the argument tabled by my colleague, I will stand adamant in opposition of the moot. Life in the Caribbean was better before the advent of social media. Allow me to illustrate by outlining how social media has created globalized voices and improved response rates to disasters and emergencies. Brian Solis, a digital analyst, speaker, and author, stated, and I quote, "Social media spark a revelation that we, the people, have a choice, and the democratization of content and ideas, we can unite around common passions, inspire movements, and ignite change," end quote. Madam Moderator, I dare say it is far easier to do something extraordinary and noticeable and have it reach parts around the globe than it has been at any time in our history. Take, for example, this debate, which is organized by the Bar Association to promote advocacy for tomorrow. It is being streamed live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram with the potential to reach millions of people around the world. Not only was I able to have my voice heard, but I was able to benefit from the first stream on Monday. The opportunity to view my performance and gain immediate constructive criticism from friends and relatives as far away as England positively influenced me to be a more eloquent orator this evening. Would this have been possible if social media did not exist? No! I probably would have still been waiting for ZIZ to broadcast it. Madam Moderator, I implore you to envision social media as a web of connectedness that creates globalized voices. Local poet, author Lachlan Tatum stated, and I quote, "Before social media, it was near impossible for the unknown writer to get his work published," end quote. It was extremely challenging to access a globally reaching platform where persons could share their opinions or findings. In an article by UI Today, July 2018, Trinidadian journalist Curtis Williams opined, and I quote, "Traditional media are no longer the gatekeepers of news. Gone are the days when what we saw and heard was determined by traditional media. This is because people now have the power to post their thoughts, pictures, videos, and their stories without having to go through traditional media," end quote. The internet, through social media, has opened up virtual spaces that bypass traditional gatekeepers. Historically marginalized groups, such as African Americans and Latino young people, can now discuss and get information about issues that affect their lives. Additionally, social media has also given a voice to the disabled. According to the Journal of Computer-Mediated Communication 2014, disabled individuals tend to use Facebook as much as others do. This gives them the potential to gain independence, be innovative, and contribute to creating awareness about the needs and issues of their community. Moreover, the swiftness of social media has changed the way we learn and respond to natural disasters and other emergencies. In 2010, after a 7.0 magnitude earthquake hit Haiti, non-profit groups used social media to mobilize rescue efforts and to support the community. This also saw the deployment of one of the most successful text-to-donate campaigns seen at the time. Similarly, in 2017, when Dominica, along with several other Caribbean islands, was devastated by Hurricane Irma, people around the Caribbean islands and other parts of the world used social media to get updates. I can recall the number of heart-wrenching cries for help, rescues, and testimonies that were shown on Facebook and YouTube. The Caribbean was able to unite under the hashtag Dominica Strong, and Dominicans were able to mark themselves as safe on Facebook so that their friends and loved ones were able to see. Doesn't this sound like a win for us? It most certainly is a win for the Caribbean. Before the development of social media, it was extremely difficult after a natural disaster for persons to locally locate potential lost and homeless friends and family members. Social media has been able to bridge the gap. Social media also provides a platform for us to interact with each other on a human, compassionate, empathetic level through the use of platforms such as GoFundMe to help total strangers, friends, and even relatives. Madam Moderator, I would like to culminate on the idea that social media has indeed improved the quality of life that we are privy to here in the Caribbean. Can we all just admit that the things are better and that we are content with the progress we have made via social media? I rest our case.
That was the seconder of the opposition, Ms. Egan, who spoke in a time of 6 minutes and 54 seconds. Before we move to the rebuttals, we had Ms. Green, leader of the proposition. She spoke for a time of 10 minutes and 51 minutes, 10 minutes and 51 seconds. Her seconder, Mr. Tremaine Bell, he spoke for a time of 7 minutes and 35 seconds. The leader of the opposition, Ms. Warner, she spoke for a time of 9 minutes and 17 seconds. And the seconder of the opposition, Ms. Egan, she spoke for a time of 6 minutes and 54 seconds. We will now have 10 minutes of absolute silence as the students prepare their rebuttals, and the 10-minute would start now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the 10 minutes that we would have allotted for the students to prepare the rebuttal. The opposition will deliver their rebuttal first and then the proposition. And so I would now invite the leader of the opposition to the podium, Ms. Dariella Warner.
Moderator, trusted judges, ladies and gentlemen, with a purpose I rise again. Amy Jo Martin, renowned author, speaker, and entrepreneur, once said, and I quote, "Just as we teach our children how to ride a bike, we need to teach them how to navigate social media and make the right moves that will help them." The physical world is like the virtual world in many cases. It's about being aware. We can prevent many debacles if we educate, end quote. Moderator, my opponents tried in vain to propose the moot life in the Caribbean was better before the advent of social media. However, my stance remains solid on the fact that life is now better with the advent of social media. Firstly, the proposition spoke about the indecency and immorality and cyberbullying. Yes, these acts are promoted by the existence of social media, but it should be noted that it is not because of the advent of social media, but because of the persons who use this platform in a negative manner. Anything is susceptible to abuse, but its significance should not be questioned because of it. It should be noted that social media allows persons suffering this abuse to be sought justice, as people would come together to expose the matter. There are many ways in which cyberbullying can be prevented on social media platforms. On platforms such as Facebook and Instagram, you are allowed to hide or report these abuse. Additionally, moderator, the second speaker of the proposition said, paraphrased, that the advent of social media has brought an identity crisis. Moderator, identity crisis is not caused by social media, but actually because of the person's lack of certainty within themselves. Moderator, it should be noted that social media is a platform that provides persons to empower each other. They made mention of skin bleaching. However, Jamaican artist Spice used black hypocrisy to expose skin bleaching in America and fight against it. Furthermore, the opposition stated that social media causes persons to be distracted from outdoor activities. Moderator, many of us in this room can attest to the fact that social media also promotes fitness. Fitness trainers post their routines online to aid the public. Moderator, allow me to end this way. After the advent of social media has broken down barriers when it comes to communication, and we are spoiled for choice when it comes to ways of getting in contact with someone. So, moderator, again I say, life in the Caribbean was not better before the advent of social media. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ms. Warner, who did her rebuttal in a time of 3 minutes and 16 seconds. Could we give her a round of applause? We know that the rebuttal is usually a very difficult section for students, and so we have to keep encouraging the debaters this evening. I hope as well that the audience would be noting some of these points so that when we have our discussion, we can look at both sides of this very interesting moot. While the judges continue to tally, we would just like to acknowledge our sponsors who would have helped to make this debating competition a reality. We would like to thank publicly the Social Security Board, Mitcham and Benjamin Chambers, the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank Limited, TDC Business Center, Sugar City Adventures, Professional Computing, Very Exciting Things Limited out of Trinidad and Tobago, South Beach Promo out of Miami, Island Purified Water Limited, Nevis Bakery, Hosford's Value Mart, Underground Heavy Equipment, Chameleon Media, and ZIZ Television. Could we just give our sponsors a round of applause? We will now have the proposition to deliver their rebuttal, and I will invite the leader of the proposition, Miss Shadazia Green, to the podium. Could you welcome her, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition alluded to several examples that all resolve in the same circle. All I heard was faster, quicker, and more efficient. But with good comes bad. They made mention that social media has improved communication, increased the availability of information, and has improved networking and social connections. Firstly, honorable judges, can we really say that communication has been improved when communicating on social media is limited? Without face-to-face communication, people tend to be superficial since emotions as well as body language is missing. Body language is essential for effective communication, and also social media has tried to imitate body language by introducing emojis. These are lacking. One can post a smile when he or she really wants to cry. Therefore, communication has increased, but it has not improved. No kind of communication is better than face-to-face communication. Furthermore, yes, there is a vast amount of information on social media. There is good information and bad information. The question is, are we prepared to handle this vast amount of information? Are we doing enough to protect our children from the bad information also available on social media? Who is protecting our 12-year-old girls from adult content or pedophilia? Finally, improved networking and finally, are we really connected on social media? Do you really think that Samantha in New York cares about what you had for lunch today? So why post it on social media? Besides, who wants to see a dead body in a coffin on Facebook? Networking was doing just fine before the advent of social media. People exchanged email addresses and telephone numbers, and this was enough. Social media has so consumed us with what we think we have to indulge in, otherwise we are not cool or current. The opposition, dare I say, begged us to just admit that things are better. To that, I say no. We simply cannot. I thank you.
We thank Ms. Green. She did her rebuttal presentation in a time of 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Let us give all of the debaters a round of applause for a job well done. We have come to the end of the formal debating competition, and we are at the stage where we will invite our esteemed judges to retire for their deliberations. We are going to take them to a secure venue as per the rules so that they can deliberate in private. And just so that we have an idea of what it is the judges would be looking for, I mentioned earlier that one of the criteria was soundness of points. That is 35 points, and the judges will look at the accuracy of the points, substantiation by examples, quotes, and statistics. Under logical development of argument, that is 20 points. They will look at the argument developed along logical lines and presented in a well-ordered manner. Under audibility and clarity, that is 15 points. The presenters must be able to present the arguments eloquently, clearly, and distinctly. Under posture and personality, the ability to reach out, capture, and hold the audience's attention through the effective use of body language, that's 15 points. Command of language must be comfortable with the proper usage of grammar, vocabulary, and expression, that is 15 points for a total individual score of 100 points. We have already thanked our sponsors for Law Week, and I just want to let you know that we are coming to the end of Law Week, but we have one more event left, and that is a charity walk that will be in Nevis tomorrow evening, Saturday, 23rd November. The charity walk is under the theme Moonlight Glow, Walk, Run, and Fun. It starts at 6 p.m. at the Fit Park in Bath Plains, Nevis. The packages are on sale for EC $50, and if anyone is interested, you can check any member of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association that is present this evening. For that $50, you will get a bag, a t-shirt, and refreshments after the walk, as well as a free aerobic session. So we will now invite discussions from the audience, not so much about the students' performance, but discussions on the mood. We note from the discussion, I will start off, that we heard pros and cons of the use of social media and its impact on teens. We heard a lot about cyberbullying, which is something we know that has caused a lot of young persons, especially in the US, to have suicidal thoughts and to actually carry that out. One of the things that I know from a conference that I attended in March, it was new information to me because I never realized that social media had such an impact on Caribbean persons. When it was a money laundering conference I was attending, and one of the speakers spoke specifically on the example of Trinidad and Tobago, where through the use of social media, a lot of young persons were becoming radicalized, and they were actually leaving Trinidad to go to Syria and other parts to join the ISIS movement. To a lot of persons who were present, it seemed strange. And one of the things that would happen is that the age group and the socioeconomic status that was targeted were college graduates, persons who were mid-level income, And what they would do is to send 200 TT a month to ISIS, but through different bank accounts so that there wouldn't be any flags. And so, as I heard the students make their presentation this evening, that came back to me that when it comes to terrorism and the financing of terrorism, social media plays a very big part in that. So I don't know if there's anyone who wishes to make any comments on the topic. I would invite you to do so now. We have a shy audience. We're just having a little trouble with the
Testing.
additional mic.
Good evening to all. I just want to take a few minutes to, I just want to commend the students for a tremendous job and the teachers, because I listened and I was impressed with the presentation of all the students. I think they did a lot of work. I'm sure some of them are preparing for CXC right now, but this is what school life is about. It's about participating in activities and events that enhance your skills. Concerning social media, I use social media a whole lot, and I think it has enhanced my life. I think it has enhanced the life of everyone, but it is also true that it could be a tool of destruction. And it would be good if social media be used more responsibly, especially by young people. And those of you who are here, you're young people, I want to admonish you, young boys and girls, I want to admonish you and advise you to walk away or look away or don't participate. Prevent yourself from participating in the sharing of negative photos, bad photos, make people's terrible experiences on social media. If your friends are laughing at what they see, you walk away from it. If you see your friend coming to you and showing you something that is negative on social media, tell him you don't want to see it. Am I wrong? And tell him why. Don't laugh like the others. Set an example. And so I hope that the presentations tonight will enable us to understand that nothing is good or bad in and of itself. Much of it depends on what you do with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tatum, for those comments. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment on the moot? I think one of the things that Mr. Tatum raised is the idea that we really shouldn't expect young persons just in and of themselves, out of the blue, to use social media responsibly, but it may require something a little bit more structured, where in schools, students are taught the responsible use of social media. Too many times we are having situations where after things have gone viral, you see a rush and a scamper to try and rein things in, but by that time, of course, the horse has already bolted, and the difficult thing about social media is that the images stay in the World Wide Web, in cloud, in space, in that land permanently. In the old days, if you had a picture that was being circulated, after a while that would die down, but just depending on how many likes or how many views something gets, you may simply just have to type the name in Google and it keeps coming back up years after. So I think the topic this evening raised some important considerations about actually educating our young people about the responsible use of social media. I think there's someone else at the back who would like to make a comment.
Good evening, everyone. I would first like to give high commendation to both teams. You all have done an excellent job this evening, and I know that it took a lot of your time, and there is value. You have added value, because when you leave, you're leaving all winners, simply because you're leaving with additional information, the experience, and the building of confidence. So kudos to all of you. With regards to the topic on social media, one of the things I would tell young people at times is that your prospective employer may just be browsing just as you are, and maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, you find yourself in that employer's office seeking employment, and whatever image, that is negative images you may have posted or language, as they see your face, it may come back to them, and that may be the thing that would seal your fate that day in, unfortunately, preventing you from being employed, because you would have built a reputation of yourself on Facebook, and as the chair lady said, it can't be erased. It stays forever. Additionally, with social media, just as you are following, you too are being followed. So that's another thing that, as young people, you have to bear in mind, that as you're following, you too, you are being followed by the world. We tend to have the feeling that it is just our circle, the persons whom we know, who are looking at what we post. We fail to realize that it is seen, it's a worldwide viewing, and so we really have to be cautious. Now, I realize that it was said that at the school level, we are to teach the children, but I always like to begin at home, because that is where it begins. Of course, as teachers, we have our part to play to reinforce what is taught at home, but parents also have primarily have their part to play to ensure that their children are using social media to edify rather than to tear down. So that's my comment for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I think that last point that you raised shows that social media can cause us to sometimes have a disconnect from what we post and who we say we are, because you find that persons may not say something to your face, but when you see that person go on Facebook, the kind of negativity and there's a level of boldness that the social media platforms give individuals. It's really cause for concern because a lot of the times persons would not necessarily behave that way face to face, but basically when they're on Facebook or the other social media sites, I mean, they go crazy sometimes. So it is something interesting that, yes, it's just a platform, but that platform can demonstrate significant changes in people's behavior, the use of that platform. I see the permanent secretary has the mic, so I'm going to hand it over to him for his contribution.
Thank you, moderator. I was really, well, I am expecting the young people, school children, to jump up and talk about this topic. This is your topic. You are of the social media generation era, so we expect you to have a lot to say about this. I need to commend the speakers before me, including the moderator and Ms. Greenaway. I think that's what we refer to as the digital footprint. Whatever you put in there on social media, and we think that we're going to hit the delete button and it goes away, that's not true. It's going to be there forever. And as such, we have to be so mindful, so careful about what we place on social media. The incidences which we sometimes see on social media, those things that portray the negative aspects of our community, you know, young people and older people alike. These are the things that we have to guard against. These are not edifying to us. These are not helping us. And I would like to join in Mr. Tatum to encourage you that when these things come in your phones, your inbox, whatever, that you just delete them instead of helping to propagate and further advance the negative aspect. You just delete them and don't even worry to, you know, to pass them on. I do that. As soon as I see something that doesn't seem to be in the positive, I just delete it. One of the speakers made reference to the number of times that we check our phones daily.
85.
Yeah, I think I do mine more than that. But work-related. When I leave my office, and that includes traveling outside of St. Kitts Nevis, I can be in touch with my secretary to know what's going on, what I need to respond to, and stuff like that. In fact, she said to me that when I'm gone, it's just like I'm still there because she's still getting messages from me and checking in and so on. And for me, I love the cell phone. That is what, it just helps me to keep, you know, in contact, in touch with what's going on in my office, work-related, and so on. I love the chats. We have a principal chat. We can just send messages instantly to remind principals about certain events and so on. I want to say that this debate had me on the edge of my chair tonight. I've seen so much growth just from Monday until today. I'm telling you, we have seen so much growth. We want to congratulate you, and I am even more adamant that we're going to have every high school participate in this debate next year. Yes. Ms. Byron, we need to meet early enough to talk and plan, because this is the kind of impact we want our young people to benefit from. I can't wait to see you on the Leeward Islands debating team at CFBC. Yes, you deserve a round of applause. And if our students, if CFBC has to have good quality debaters, we in the secondary school, we have to feed you into CFBC as good quality debaters. Mr. Vikel Edwards, the coach from Sandy Point, from Charles E. Mills, Sandy Point High School, that's what is a product of debating competition at CFBC, a Leeward Islands debater. And so, you know, it makes us all feel a sense of pride when we can see our students like you get into the situation and do extremely well. So congratulations.
Thank you very much for those comments. I really would have to second those remarks. I can recall that while I was in high school, that was the Gingerland High School in Nevis, from the age of about third or fourth form, we had regular annual debating competitions against our sister school, which was Charlestown Secondary. And by the time, you left high school and you entered the sixth form college, you joined the debating team. I am also one of the Leeward Islands debaters from back in the day. And the confidence that you get from debating, the ability to develop logical arguments, those are skills that you're going to take with you through life. And a lot of the times when you're looking back, and your CXCs were the most important thing to you at that stage, which it should be. But a lot of the times, I feel like we miss the mark in terms of focusing as well on events that would build the students themselves, the person, as opposed to just knowledge-based education. So I am happy to hear you make those comments, because this is a valuable investment that you're going to see returns later on. And I think all students, whether you're doing CXC or not, once you have an interest in debating, it is something that they should participate in. So I really appreciate those sentiments, and we look forward to a bigger competition in 2020. One of the points that you raised as well, if anyone else has comments, feel free. I'm just developing from what the permanent secretary said. One of the things which came out in the debates, which I found was a very good illustration, was how social media is used in the aftermath of natural disasters. I mean, I remember I attended a funeral a few months ago, and the person who was doing the eulogy, one of the things they said about the deceased was that after hurricane, maybe Gilbert or one of those 80s hurricane, Hugo, one of those, the deceased was so concerned about the well-being of her family, I think it was in Antigua, that all the communication lines were down, and she basically went on a flight and had to travel to Antigua just to find out whether they were, dead or alive. And with the social media platform, if you have family members in Dominica and there is a storm, there is usually somebody, somehow the Wi-Fi network stay up long enough, there is usually somebody who you can message and get real-time information about your loved ones. It was the same thing, I understand, in Bahamas, where you had the Abaco Islands and the Grand Bahama Island, I think it was. The water had, for some of the stories I saw on social media, the water had reached such a height, the rescuers were not coming, and it is other persons who were in the storm who saw that, went out in the storm, and were able to rescue quite a bit of persons because of the use of social media. So we really have to also highlight the positives from social media, in the sense, especially for our Caribbean situation, where we know every year, we are prone to natural disasters. So I thought that the students did very well in terms of the illustrations on both sides on that issue. Okay, we have the mic. Somebody else at the front would like to make a contribution.
Good evening. To reiterate the points of the opposition, social media is, to me, just a tool, a platform without life. Social media do not have good and bad. People who use social media use it for good and bad. So to ban social media or to blame it is not the right way. To manage, because there are a lot of things you can manage the usage of persons using social media and not social media itself. So social media really isn't the problem. Social media is like a gun. Gun is not the problem. People who use guns the human intervention is the problem. So yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for that contribution. Would anyone else like to make a contribution to the discussion?
Pleasant good night to all. First of all, I would like to commend both teams. As Madam Moderator opened the session tonight, she did indicate that it's a high caliber, and I have to agree with that. Both teams were well prepared, very articulate, so congratulations to both teams. Just to add to the comments that everyone has made, and also I'm very impressed that this young man here made the comment about the platform itself isn't the problem, it's the usage of it. So the common thread among the arguments made tonight is the power of social media, both negative and positive.
Yes.
So there's a certain level of consciousness we have to have in using it. It would be a laughable thing if I'm to stand here tonight and say, oh no, as soon as you wake up, don't check your phone, because we all do. But instead of posting something negative, look for a positive quote. By you posting that quote, you may lift somebody's day with that very simple thing. So that is my comment on the topic tonight.
Okay, at this stage, I will invite Miss Tamara Malcolm, who is one of our best speaker judges, to basically give her comments. That way, when the results come in, we are not delayed too much. Yes, she'll stand and give her comments.
Good night, everyone. Okay, well, I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Mrs. Tashna Powell-Williams, who is sitting at the back. I guess she's left me to do this alone. That's okay. Let me start by saying such a huge congratulations to both teams. And I don't say that lightly. I do not think that at, 15, 16, I would have had, I don't know how old, but you're young teenagers. I would have had the confidence to come up in front of not just a large group of people, but a large group of people and the World Wide Web, right? And we forget that when we're sitting down there just watching them, that there are a lot of nerves that are involved in this process as well. So with that said, we did not mark you with any negativity as to nerves, because we understand, that's a part of the whole process. I must also say that this had to be a hard topic for millennials to debate, right? Because I am sure it may have been a little easier on this side, but I'm sure that you both own cell phones, and I'm sure that it was hard to, grapple with, why should I not have my cell phone or have access to my friends? So well done to both sides. We were tasked with marking or scoring on audibility and clarity, articulation, fluency, body language, eye contact, command of material, voice modulation, and persuasiveness. So I'm going to do them in no particular order. I'm going to start, of course, with the positives. And let me say that based on what I've heard from the other persons that are here, you clearly took on the advice of the judges on Monday night. Because from what I understand, they've seen such growth and such greater command of the topic and the stage as you were presenting. So kudos to you for that. Also, the point was made that you obviously, we understand that the preparation between Monday and now must have been a very short period of time. So for you to come up with that amount of material and to be able to present it so well, that was very well done. And overall, you were all very articulate and focused as well. let's move to some of the, I don't want to use the word negative, but the areas for improvement, right? All right, so one of the first things I noticed, and I know this has to do with nerves, is that some of you tend to speak really fast, right? Because you were probably watching the time, you didn't want to go over time, and just to watch where the mic is as well. Also, we wanted to make the point that louder is not always better, right? Louder doesn't necessarily get your point across better. We also wanted to point out the fact that as it has to do with voice modulation, that we realized that in terms of what you may see in a typical debate, or how you expect persons to sound in a typical debate, there may have been a little more focus on that, as opposed to just making your point. So we wanted to indicate that if you slow down just a little, and just think about what it is that you're saying, pay attention to your full stops and your commas, because if you don't, of course, you get lost. The sentence is all continuing to one, and you lose your crowd, right? Also, you have to be in control of your topics and what it is that you are delivering. So, knowing your topic, there were a few points or a few moments where we thought persons may have fallen off of topic a little bit. But I must say on a positive note that you were all very good at making your point or making your examples, being very persuasive with them, realistic examples, and relating them back to the topic. All right? Better use of time. It is always better to be shorter than longer, right? Just in terms of using your time. And again, I know that you must have been watching the clock and thinking, oh, I only have this amount of time and I'm going to run out. But what that forces you to do is to speak faster. And so you lose the audience that you're speaking to. And in terms of eye contact, overall, I think you all had very good eye contact. But also remember that your judges are sitting up here. So your eye contact is not just with the audience. It's all around the room. It's with your judges as well. And again, we understand that it was a short period of time for you to prepare to make this particular presentation. But it would mean that in the future, when you have a longer period of time, that you know your speeches a little more better. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm going with that? You understand your speeches, you know your speeches, what comes next, so that you're not forced to look at the paper, but you're looking at your audience. But all in all, absolutely, wonderfully well done. It was my absolute pleasure. And I'm sure Mrs. Williams as well. Wonderful.
Well, while we wait, in case there's anyone who wants to add to the discussion, you just indicate and the mic will be given to you. We had the two best speakers from Monday, Miss Khadija Ejen. I apologize to her because I have been calling it incorrectly for the whole night. So my apologies, Khadija Ejen of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, and Miss Shadisia Green of the Washington, thank you, of the Washington Archibald High School will each receive a gift card of $100 courtesy of TDC Business Center. TDC Business Center has a wide variety of stationery and school supplies, many items which can help the students, of course, prepare and complete their SBAs. In terms of the points from Monday, from the Charles E. Mills, Miss Warner had a total of 130 points, Miss E. Jen, 141 points, and from the Washington Archibald High School, Miss Green had a total of 146 points, and Mr. Bell 133 points. So I would just call Miss Khadija Ejen to come and receive her prize from Monday's debate for Best Speaker of Debate 1. I will call upon Miss Green as well so that she can receive her gift card of $100 for the Best Speaker for Debate 2. Well, apart from the winner of this debate tonight, there is also an award that would be given for the overall Best Speaker award. And I just want to give the audience an idea of what that award is. The Dame Constance Mitchum Overall Best Speaker Award will be given to the debater who the Best Speaker judges have scored the highest throughout the competition. This award is named in honor of Her Excellency Dame Constance Mitchum, the first woman elected to Parliament in St. Kitts and Nevis, one of the architects of our nation's constitution, and the first woman in St. Kitts and Nevis's history to be elevated to the title of Dame Commander by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Dame Constance is a seasoned advocate in her own right of over 45 years standing and has used her skills to secure tremendous advances for the rights of women and children in particular. Dame Constance is unable to be here this evening as she traveled to England to receive her official honor from the Queen at Buckingham Palace. However, a representative from her office, Miss Malcolm, will present that award in a few minutes. Let us just give Dame Commander Constance Mitchum a round of applause for investing in our young people by that award. In addition to the prize for the overall Best Speaker, which is to come, there will be prizes, of course, for the winning team. Members of the winning team of this competition will each receive a future planner account at the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank in the sum of $350 each. Let us thank St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank for that. The Future Planner account is an excellent product offered exclusively at the National Bank and is a great way to teach children and young people about the value of saving. The Future Planner account is for any young person under the age of 18 and for parents who want to save for their children's future. One of the key features of the Future Planner account is that students can receive a 10% refund on school uniforms and a 10% refund on books and school supplies once they present their receipts to any branch of the National Bank. In addition, when our debaters reach the age of 18 years, their Future Planner accounts will transform into a regular savings account where they can continue to save towards their future goals. Additionally, the members of the winning team and their hard-working coaches will also receive a complimentary Segway tour of St. Kitts compliments Sugar City Adventures, the premier Segway operator in the Caribbean, and the ideal choice for fun and adventure. Let us give those sponsors a round of applause. In addition to Mitcham and Benjamin, St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank, and Sugar City Adventures, we would like to thank again the Social Security Board, TDC Business Center, Professional Computing, Very Exciting Things Limited, South Beach Promo, Island Purified Water, Nevis Bakery, Hosford's Value Mart, Underground Heavy Equipment, Chameleon Media, and ZIZ Television. Okay, is there any other comments from the audience? If not, I will go into the overall Best Speaker Award and presentation. No? We have the results for the overall Best Speaker Award. This clearly, of course, is different from the winner of the competition tonight, because this award, of course, focuses on the individual performances. The scores are, and this is for the Dame Constance Mitcham Overall Best Speaker Award. The proposition leader, Miss Shadicia Green, had a total of 173 points. The proposition seconder, Mr. Tremaine Bell, had a total of 135 points. The opposition leader, Miss Dariella Warner, had a total of 188 points. The opposition seconder, Miss Khadija Ejen, had a total of 180 points. Therefore, the Best Speaker judges have given the following scores, because remember we had multiple debates, out of a maximum total of 400 points over 2 days. The total points are as follows. Mr. Tremaine Bell, 268 points. Miss Dariella Warner, 318 points. Miss Shadicia Green, I hope I have that correct, a total of 319 points. And Miss Khadija Ejen, 321 points. Therefore, the winner of the Dame Constance Mitcham Overall Best Speaker Award goes to Miss Khadija Ejen of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. I will invite Miss Tamara Malcolm to present the award. Miss Ejen? Present the award to Miss Ejen. and we continue to wait for the results from our judges. I think we have dealt with all of the possible issues that would have come up based on the social media discussions. There was only one thing I had made a note of that I don't think we really touched was I remember speaking to a police officer who works in the criminal division of our courts. And one of the things in a discussion we had about evidence and, of course, the fact that, you know, sometimes criminal cases have to be dismissed for, you know, some technicalities. One of the things he pointed out to me, and of course, now that we're having the discussion, it came back to me, was that at a crime scene, it has happened several times where before the police comes to secure the scene, the villagers or whoever is present would go and take photographs, not only of the deceased, but they would take photographs of the shell casings, they would do their own investigative work, of course, and they would post it. And sometimes when the police comes and they do their investigation, they may say they find three shell casings on the ground. And in one or two cases, defendants have brought pictures that would have been taken by someone else prior to the arrival of the police to show, let's say, there were 5 shell casings. So social media really impacts even the criminal prosecution when persons don't have a good understanding of the impact of simply sending a photo. So even looking at it from that standpoint in terms of justice and criminal prosecutions, it can have an impact as well. So we really would have gotten a lot of food for thought this evening.
Do we have yet any laws on the books, any legislation governing the use or misuse or abuse of
We do. We do have legislation that deals with it, and I think the judges are back. We do have legislation dealing with it, but I think a lot of it comes down to prosecution of the offenders. A lot of the times, persons would complain, but without a complainant to go to the police to make a report, you're going to have some difficulty. One of the other issues I know that they have is in terms of identifying the source. So, for example, the WhatsApp would start with you, and by the time it gets around to them, it has already gone through the whole of St. Kitts. So in terms of identifying the source of it, that I think would hinder criminal prosecution as well. So I see that our esteemed judges are back. And so that means that we probably have some results. I am not sure which of the 3 judges would be making the critique or the comments on the presentations. So I will invite the lead judge to come and give us our comments on the debate so that we can hear from you. I think we have among ourselves already judged, so we are waiting for the judges. Let us give his lordship a round of applause as he comes, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Permanent Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, students, good evening. First, let me say what a pleasure it has been sitting as a judge at this debate along with my colleagues. It was a long, hard week. I arrived here rather tired. Mr. Benjamin said the same thing. But believe you me, the presentations this afternoon brought us all alive. They were vibrant, energetic, content-wise. They were rich, and we were treated to some very good debating skills. Among the highlights, we were satisfied that there was adequate development of argument, appropriate examples. We found there was evidence of some research which was properly marshaled and used to buttress the arguments. We found, particularly with the leader of the opposition, extremely good diction, body language, communication, engagement with the audience, and she had this distinctive way of transitioning from point to point seamlessly and linking her arguments. And even in the handover to her seconder, that too was very efficiently and expertly done. With respect to the leader of the proposition, what impressed us was that for a considerable period in her presentation, she demonstrated engagement with her material. There were quite a few occasions when she simply engaged eye contact with her audience and was not a slave to the script. And we think that that is indeed a commendable aspect of the debating skill, that ability to be familiar with your material, engage your audience, eye contact. So we congratulate her on that particular skill. We also considered that there was good support. You know, we were required to assess the material that they used, statistics, for example, and data to support arguments. There was good use of that. We did notice, however, that from time to time, a few of the examples we felt were a bit not as appropriate as they may have been. There were some references, for example, to newspaper articles which merely expressed opinions, and we would have preferred to see more objective data used to buttress your arguments. So that's one area that we felt could use some improvement. As it relates to the opposition, no, the proposition, beg your pardon, we felt that you did a very good job in highlighting the negatives of social media. But we felt that we could have heard some more with respect to tangibly how life was better in the Caribbean before the advent of social media. So yes, you highlighted the negative, but we felt some more focus could have been actually given to highlighting the actual positive, what you see and why you see life was better. On occasions, we felt that the lines were a bit blurred between what constitutes social media and what was generally maybe internet usage generally. And so that is something that you would need to watch, because in your introductions, both sides attempted to define what is meant by social media. But sometimes as the arguments developed, the lines became blurred. As it relates to the rebuttal, when it came to the rebuttal, we felt the opposition did better with recalling the points and addressing directly the points made by the other side. However, we found that when we looked at that area, we were required to grade you on evidence in support of your rebuttal points. Both sides, to be candid, struggled a bit in that area. And so that is an area that you would want to look at in your future endeavors. Those are some of the observations that we made as we undertook our task of trying to determine how to allocate the points to the participants in this very interesting and engaging debate. That said, we were unanimous in our view that all of you demonstrated great ability, courage, and show great potential for future development. We want to encourage you to proceed along this positive path upon which you are embarked. Clearly, it seems you would have had the support of your teachers and colleagues in this undertaking. And, you know, last night I was viewing the live broadcast of the 25 most outstanding students. I am sure that from among you here, you may very well find yourself in that very position, based on what I have seen here. So we want to thank you and congratulate you all for a job well done. Keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justice Ward, for those comments. I think they reflect accurately what would have transpired here, and I know that the students, of course, would take what was said in the spirit in which it was said and use it as a tool to really just improve. We've been here for a few hours, and I am not going to delay the process anymore. We have the results. I am excited. The winner of the 2019 St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association Advocates of Tomorrow High School Debating Competition is, okay, out of a total of 780 points, the scores were as follows. The Washington Archibald High School amassed a total of 437 points. The Charles E. Mills Secondary School amassed a total of 551 points. The winner is the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. I would now invite the two debaters to go to the front, and I will invite His Lordship to present the winning trophy to the two debaters from the Charles E. Mills Secondary School. Let us give them another round of applause. Okay, just before we leave, it would be remiss of me to let this occasion pass without thanking those persons who would have made this event possible. We would like to first thank the Bird Rock Beach Hotel for hosting us. They did an excellent job of hosting us on Monday as well as this evening. And we will have some light refreshments after for those who participated in the debates. We would like to thank our esteemed judges for taking time out of their busy schedule to so quite willingly participate in this competition. We would like to thank especially our two best speaker judges who came on today on very short notice. We really appreciate it, Ms. Malcolm and Ms. Powell Williams. We would like to thank our council member, Mr. McLeod Taylor, who as well stepped up on very short notice, and of course, His Honor, Mr. Benjamin and His Lordship. We would like to thank the students, their teachers, their parents. I know that even though the students would have been the ones making the presentation, what we saw tonight was a collective effort. I know that. They would have had the students that would have helped with the research, the teachers who would have spent countless hours, I'm sure, preparing them. So we just want to thank them for rising to the occasion, accepting the challenge, and coming out and really doing us all very proud. I would like to thank as well the two students from the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College who were our timekeepers, Mr. Malachi Ferguson and Glenisha Hobson. I would like to thank our auditors for donating their time to us so that everything could be done transparently. So I would like to thank specifically Ms. Isilma Pemberton and Ms. Cleo Henry again. Special thanks to Chameleon Media. They came on board early and willingly to sponsor the broadcasting of this event. And what it allows, of course, is everyone to watch us on social media, even though a lot of persons may not have been able to come. We would also like, of course, to thank ZIZ as well for streaming this debate as well. I thank my audience. You guys were wonderful. We all had a good time. This was a Friday evening well spent. I'm sure we are all edified and better for the experience. So have a good evening and God bless. To the students again, we just want to say job well done on both sides. You guys did an amazing job. In this competition, you are all winners, and we will just encourage you guys to just congratulate each other. At the end, of course, a good show of sportsmanship. Thank you so much.